Hello everyone, this is Amity Sensei. Today I'll be doing a tutorial on Procreate. To be more specific, I'll be showing you how to create some stylish letters using Procreate with some useful tips and tricks. I've actually received a lot of comments saying they want to know how to create these stylish letters, which are often referred to as script design, lettering, or typography. I often hear you guys want me to do videos on them too, so that's what I'll be covering in this video. When it comes to creating script lettering, brushes are really important. The looks of your lettering will differ a lot depending on the type of brush you use, which can be quite challenging. So what I decided to do was that I've actually created a set of my brushes, which will let you draw stylish lettering easily. It took me around 2 months to complete them, but I'm really happy with how they turn out, and I'm 100% sure they can be unique and helpful. So if you're interested in writing some stylish handwritten letters on iPad, I will leave the link to download them in the description down below, so go ahead and check it out. My brush set has 16 brushes in total, and here let me show you what you can do with them. Here's some examples. You can hand draw these stylish letters when making flyers or working on some poster designs, or simply put them wherever to fill the space to make it look pretty. You can also use them for websites. Since you can export these in a PNG format, they can be used directly for websites as well as these banners. You can create a handwritten logo like these as well. It's totally fine to just type in your text and create one, but if you want more creativity to it, I suggest doing it using this Procreate, and I'll be showing you how to turn it into a vector later. So the point here is that you can create a hand-drawn logo as well. You could also insert some cute letters, put them in whatever post to be uploaded on your social media, and I'm pretty sure they'll even look Instagrammable. But remember that you can do these things using Procreate. For today, I'm going to introduce you to the use of each brush of my 16 brushes one by one, and so I won't be getting into ways to create actual designs, but in this video I will cover some features of these brushes and what you can do with them. So if you got my brush set ready, go ahead and watch this video and learn what to do with them. Alright, let's get started. We have an animal name for each brush. Honestly, I just named them randomly with my inspiration, hopefully making it easier for you all to remember each brush name, so take your time and remember them if you can. First up is snake. Second we have tiger. Next is wolf. Then we have giraffe. Next is lion. And next we have kangaroo. Then we have crocodile. Next is hippo. After that we have monkey and elephant. Next is giant panda. And we have flamingo, rabbit, penguin, dolphin, and the last one is sea turtle. And that's all the 16 brushes we have. They look pretty decent, right? And now from here, I'll show you how to use all of these 16 brushes one by one. And let's start with snake. About this brush snake, it's basically a rough flat brush. Let me write something here. You can see how it's pretty rough, right? And as I set it thinner, I can also write lines like these. And as you put less of your pen pressure, the lines will turn out thin like this. But as you put more of that, you can write lines that look more firm. So a tip here is to write towards the top part like this, so that you have the letters that will look pretty cool and stylish. Next we have tiger. I actually came up with this brush inspired by Japanese postcard paint markers. I wonder if you're familiar with those markers at all, but they're basically water-based paint markers you can use on black paper and stuff, and I used to use them all the time, and so that's what I decided to base these brushes on. So please Google Posca brushes, P-O-S-C-A, if you have no clue. But similar to them, the ink looks kind of scratchy, and I believe they can be useful when you want to write some thin and stylish letters. And for the third one here, we have wolf. This one is kind of similar to snake, the one I introduced earlier, but what makes this different is that even though it's a flat brush, it's very sophisticated. It's got some lines like these, as you can see here, and let me explain what I mean a little bit more here. As you write something quickly with a relatively low pen pressure, you have a lot of these lines popping up. Actually, these lines somehow reminded me of a wolf, so that's why I named it that way. But by moving this rough flat brush quickly, you can easily draw these stylish lines, so be sure to make use of the brushes snake and wolf depending on how you want your letters to look like. Next is the fourth one. Here we have this one giraffe, and this is basically a brush that's got this texture around the outline here. As we zoom in here, we can see how rough the surface is, right? It's got this sandpaper-like feel to it, and I feel like this brush would be perfect for restaurant menus, for instance, and write down some stuff like pepper and garlic in handwritten letters. So I'm really hoping that this brush giraffe can somehow help you gain more customers and grow your business. Next we have lion. This is a brush with 100% opacity level without any blur. It's this one that's almost like magic ink here, or the one with its brush end tilted. And using this brush, you can pretty much express or create a lettering that will look similar to magic ink as well. And I highly suggest this brush when you want to have rather thick and heavy fonts. Like this, if you draw an oval and sort of stuff at the end of its tail right here, you can easily draw some stylish letters. On a side note, you can also lower the opacity level and create some interesting designs with these parts overlap. I personally suggest using this brush with its opacity level set 100%, but you can definitely try this with a lower opacity level and still create your unique design, so go ahead and play around with this a little bit and see what you like the best. Next is kangaroo. This brush is for when you want to draw rather rough and thin letters or text with a bit of blur. You can see here as I write things quickly, the text got a bit of blur. For this brush though, no matter how much pen pressure you put, the text thickness will remain the same. So this brush would be perfect when you want to have your text in the same size, but with a bit of blur. Now let's move on to the next one, Crocodile, which will be our 7th brush. We are finally halfway through. What makes this brush unique though, is that it's very sensitive to your pen pressure. It's basically a flat brush that's pretty blurry. So the more pen pressure, the darker it gets, and the less pen pressure, the more blurry it gets, like this. For instance, if I write something quickly here with a weaker pen pressure, this gets kind of more blurry looks with these overlapping parts looking pretty cool. And as I put more pen pressure, they get more firm looks, as you can see here. This is kind of similar to the brush you would use for any pop art letters. But with this brush Crocodile, your letters or text will look a lot different depending on how much pen pressure you write them with, and this applies also to your opacity level. So all in all, just remember that Crocodile is a brush that lets you design your letters with a lot of flexibility. Alright, let's move on. Next up is Hippo. This is basically a brush that will make your letters have these jagged edges of both the start as well as the end of them, like this. Right now I also have some blurring effects applied here. So Hippo is a brush with these edges. I don't have the opacity level set here, and I'll say this would be a perfect brush for anyone who wants to have letters like these that look really firm and jaggy. I actually like this brush a lot, and I often use it as well. Next we have the 9th one, and it's this brush called Monkey. This is basically a wet font, and we have this thing called wet mix settings in our brush studio, and that's apply a lot to this brush. Think of this as a watercolor painting brush where your fonts will look like they got some water droplets in them with some blur effects like this. As I draw something here, the parts that are overlapped or rotated like here will look like water dripping. You can also draw pretty smooth lines. They also have this stream setting we have in our brush set apply here, and using this, we can draw these smooth lines. So this brush Monkey leaves the impression of watercolor painting. Let's go to the next one. Next up we have Elephant. This brush Elephant is dry as you can tell. I actually happened to create this brush accidentally as I was working on my other brushes. It's basically a brush where you can create a very dry font like this with a low pen pressure. A tip here would be to draw them slowly but firmly to have solid ink. If you draw them quickly, they will look pretty blurred. I feel like you will need some time to get used to this brush, but once you get a hang of it, I'm sure it will be pretty useful. And I think this kind of font would be great for many things such as your web banner. Next we have Giant Panda. This brush is super simple. I guess this is pretty much what represents a so-called marker, except that it's slightly smudged. But if you're looking for a simple brush with its text simple and a bit round, definitely use this one. I know this is pretty basic, but I thought we all need a brush like this at some point, and that's why I decided to create this Giant Panda. Our next one is Flamingo. I love this one a lot, and this would be perfect for when you want to draw thin smooth lines. Also, I forgot to mention this, but all the brushes after my previous one, Giant Panda, or from number 11 to 16 look pretty feminine, while the rest, which is from number 1 to 10, looks more masculine. So use the brushes from 1 to 10 if you want your fonts to look more cool and stylish, and use the ones from 11 to 16 if you prefer them to look more feminine and cute. So just remember to choose your brush according to the kind of style you want to have. And coming back to this brush Flamingo, we can easily draw a thin smooth line as you can see here. As an example when to use this brush, one of my friends who works as a hairstylist asked me for some good font suggestions so that she can use them for her posts on social media, and I guess this font would be perfect for things like that. It's pretty casual, so if you want to write something in your post, this might be a good option to use. Alright, let's go to the 13th one. This is Revit. If I were to describe this brush in one word, it would be lettering design. And what lettering design is, it's about these fonts with complex design. Like this, you can write something with smooth curved lines. And I believe this brush would be perfect for things like package design and logo design. You can draw these thin lines with this brush Revit, and by adjusting the level of your pen pressure, it lets you create some pretty stylish fonts. Next up is Penguin. This brush Penguin is super simple. It's a fine thin line marker. As you can see here, it's a very sharp font, so try to write your lines in a sharp manner as well. This way I'm sure your fonts will look pretty nice. And even though it's sharp, because the streamline function I mentioned earlier is set relatively high, so while we have the edges here that are kind of sharp, the parts with curved lines look pretty smooth. So it might be a good idea to use this brush Penguin if you want to have some cute but pop fonts like this. Next, this will be the 15th one, and it's called Dolphin. This brush is kind of similar to Revit, and this would be great when you want to do lettering design. And what makes it different from Revit is that it's got more rough texture, and also that while you can draw very smooth lines with Revit, which makes it perfect for lettering design as well. With Dolphin, it's more casual. It's a bit difficult to explain the differences between these two, so I want you to try them both first and see. But for now, just remember that if you want to fully make use of these smooth curved lines in your fonts, definitely use Revit, and go with Dolphin if you want to create a more rough and casual lettering design. Alright, let's move on to the last one. This one is called Sea Turtle. I actually love this brush as well. With this brush, you can draw some smooth, elegant lines like this. My brush settings are set in a way so that they don't look too heavy, and I believe this would be a perfect brush when you want to create a lettering design with elegant looks. So if you're looking for a brush to write some stylish fonts or lines with, don't forget to check out this Sea Turtle.
Yeah, I tried this a million times. Oh no. To get this off my mind.
Alright, now we've covered 16 brushes in total. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. You still might be unsure of which brush to use for your design, as we've got a lot of brushes here, and some of them even kind of look similar. But I'm hoping to make more videos on the use of each brush in my future videos, so if you got my brush set, please stay tuned and check them out in the future. Actually, the main reason why I decided to create this brush set is that I want more people to work around iPad design by possibly getting some work. And my ambition is to have more people in the world working as an iPad designer, and even though I'm still on my way to getting there too, I hope that I can make more friends with a similar goal. But anyway, that's all for today. If you like this video, please hit the like button down below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I make videos on tips and hacks of iPad, so please do that too. Thank you once again for watching my video, and see you next time. Bye bye!